for those who don't know us, we are specialized in operational excellence with a recognized and certified training brand called BTE that includes a vast catalog of training courses related to operational excellence. So we were created in 2005. AXSENS-bte was, AXSENS was created in 2005, and it's been a training center since 2010. We have been certified as a training brand from Calliope, as you can see on the bottom right. And this includes a vast catalog of training courses related to operational excellence, including the one you see to the right, certified trainings in Lean Six Sigma from the University of Lean Six Sigma, and also DDMRP from the Demand Driven Institute. We are affiliates with them, and we give these certified trainings. So if you know anyone who's interested, feel free to spread the word. And we are located in Toulouse, Paris, and Lyon, headquartered in Toulouse. And we have a partner network of independent consultants that we call upon regularly to intervene on missions. And as I mentioned before, we have those two notable training certifications. Sorry, one sec. Here we go. And we've got 30 consultants / trainers who are delivering those different trainings in addition to our catalog. And we're especially proud that we have over 10 nationalities working with us as of today from all around the world. And with all the diversity that brings, we're especially proud. So what's our expertise? So if we start with the supply chain, we've been intervening on supply chain subjects for years now. So we do forecasting, S&OP, and IBP, in addition to production planning, DDMRP, as mentioned, and everything related to inventory management, scheduling, and procurement. And we offer services in logistics and transport as well, including establishing a logistics master plan and helping out with call for tenders for transportation. We've also got the ability to do dynamic flow simulations to help you achieve more efficiency in your flows. And we have a supplier development and industrial maturity domain, which covers requirements, international standards like the EN9100, and core tools that help to fulfill those standards, including APQP, which is the Advanced Product Quality Planning, specific to aerospace. And also we help suppliers to develop themselves to become more industrially mature. Then we're looking at the fourth box, industrial methods. This is another domain that is our historic specialty as BTE. So we're looking at flow and implementation, line balancing, determination of time or chrono analysis, and workstation studies and ergonomics. And at the top here, you can see the quality and continuous improvement department, which of course covers Lean Six Sigma, as mentioned earlier, participatory visual management, which is really interesting, and problem solving. And there's also aspects linked to management and transformation, so team management and change management that comes with all the quality improvements that you could imagine. And at the bottom, you can see audits and assessments. We've got some validation audits that we can roll out at your client or at your company, and industrial maturity assessments that enable you to measure how close you are to industrial maturity and what needs to be put in place maybe to achieve it. And we've got sessions on audit techniques, so we can coach you to put in place an effective audit program, and also to coach your auditors. And lastly, we're a member of the EAQG working group, the European Aerospace Quality Group, which is working on the revision of the EN9100 standard. And we're working closely with Thierry Coutand on that. And that's about it for this slide. And I pass the ball to you, Thierry.
Hello, good morning, everybody, and thank you for participating to this webinar. So I'm not going to speak in detail of all my experience. I will just focus on the first line. So as Mari was saying, so I'm a member of the IAQG, International Aerospace Quality Group, and I'm in the writing team for the 9100 standard. I am also the European leader for the revision of this standard, in which there are 20 participants from 20 different companies, 9 European countries. And one of these team member is Moumen El Fassi, who is the managing director of AXSENS, who cannot be there today, but it's a very good member with very good inputs. And also I am a co-creator of AIMM, the Aerospace Improvement Maturity Model that we have started to design. At the origin, it was a European idea, and I'm very proud of being part of those co-creators. It was at least 5 or 6 years ago, but now AIMM is available on the IAQG site since more than 1 year, and I will be pleased to present AIMM to you today. Okay, we can go on the next slide. And I am okay. So I was in Airbus, as you could see on the previous slide, up to last year, and now I am a partner of AXSENS. I have my own consulting company. So we can continue on the next slide.
Okay.
So I'm going to introduce you with AIMM on the next slide. Okay, the origin of this project was that yes, you can keep here. Was the fact that the standard ISO 9001 and also the 9100 promote the continuous improvement of the business. But the point is that when we are certified, what is the next step is to maintain the certificate. So that was the first point. And the second point is also that with the different companies certified with the same standard, we could witness, and we can witness, that there are some companies which are right at the level when some other companies are much more ahead in continuous improvement, in improvement initiative, and they are leading the market. So between those various levels, initially we sought to put in place a certification program with different levels, but it would have been too complex to put in place. So with the IAQG, the executive committee has confirmed that we should put in place an approach to help the whole aerospace and defense industry to improve the level of quality and performance. And this approach is called AIMM. You can go on the next slide, please. So the purpose of AIMM, I would say it's a little bit, in fact, it's the last bullet. It's really to increase the level of quality and maturity of the whole aerospace industry and supply chain. And how to do that is, okay, to move the organization beyond the compliance of the 9100 standard and to evolve to more, let's say, effectiveness of the management system and optimization up to being best in class. How to do it is to provide also a tool that can help to measure the improvement and set clear targets for each company, to provide also better recognition of the improvement inside the company, but between different companies, and therefore to enhance the motivation for improvement. And last but not least, what we could see since AIMM has been launched is that it is a real key tool to understand the standard, to understand each requirement. What does it mean? What should be put in place at a certain level, and what should be put in place to improve this level? Next, please. So the principle of AIMM, first of all, AIMM is aligned on the 9100 clauses. So all the clauses of the standard are integrated in AIMM. The point also, and this is something that is very important, is that assessment can be conducted at any time as needed. It is done upon request from the organization itself. It is not a requirement. If an organization don't want to use it, they can continue as they are doing up to now. The assessment can be conducted on the full scope of the QMS of the organization. That means on the full scope of the 9100 requirement, or to focus just on a subset, on an area maybe that is critical, or where we want to improve some the activities. Also, what is something very important is that AIMM is used by the organization's own resources. There is very light training, let's say. Most of the time, the assessors are already internal auditor. You need to know minimum the 9100 standard, but there is no obligation to have AV qualification and to request external organization to do it. Okay, and last but not least, the principle of AIMM, the principle, maybe that was a request from the beginning. Its AIMM is provided for free on the IAQG site. So really, the intention of the IAQG is to facilitate the use of this tool in order to really help the organization and to improve the whole industry. Yes, there is a small comment at the end, is that the assessment cannot be used to claim compliance to the standard. And it is not also an alternative to a certification. It is a self-assessment. So if I self-assess myself, I will assess at level 5 because I'm very proud of myself. No, it is not the way it works, but you will see the different purpose of AIMM. You can go on the next one, please. Okay, now we start to enter in the art of AIMM. The concept is based on 3 key elements: the expected outcome, the maturity level, and the maturity assessment criteria. So the expected outcome, I will explain that on the next page. are derived from the requirement of the standard. The maturity scale, I guess that you all heard about maturity assessment tools. It can be a standard method like CMMI, for example, but also organization may have their own maturity tool. So there are different levels, which are steps that we can go through in order to progress. The point is that we have defined some generic criteria which explain what is expected when an organization is at maturity level 1, when it is at level 2, 3, and so on. And for each of those generic criteria, there are typical keywords that we can find all along the tool for each level. And when we have defined those expected outcome and the generic criteria, then we can instantiate those criteria for a given level, a given expected outcome for each level of maturity. It will be clearer in the next slide. So we can go. So first of all, the expected outcome. An expected outcome is the positive statement of the result expected from a 9100 requirement. And we are going to go directly on the example that is on the below. I just took this example in section 7.2 competence of the standard. It is written, the organization shall ensure that these persons are competent on the basis of appropriate education, training, or expertise. Okay, so this is the requirement. What is the expected outcome? Is the person are competent on the basis of appropriate education, training, or experience. As you can see, the expected outcome does not contain any shall or any should, so it is not a requirement, it is not a recommendation. So we took each of the requirements of the standard. Sometimes we had to group them or to make a new rewording to focus on the essential aspect of the requirement. And then after we take each expected outcome, and if we say, okay, persons are competent on the basis of appropriate education, blah, 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 what does that mean when the organization is at level 1? When does that mean when the organization is at level 2, and so on? I take just another example to complete my explanation concerning expected outcome. On the 7.2 C, the standard say that the organization shall, where applicable, take action to acquire the necessary competence and evaluate the effectiveness of the actions. Expected outcome say actions are taken to acquire the competence needed by the organization, and the effectiveness of those actions is evaluated. Okay, so now we can go on the next slide. You can ask a question at any time. If you want, I can answer to your question, or you will have some time at the end of this presentation. So we, when we started this project, we analyzed around 10 different assessment models. Some at 3 levels, some at 4, 5, 10, and finally we say, okay, the best compromise is 5, which enable to have steps that are clear to progress, but which are not too high. If there are 3 or 4 steps, it's too difficult to climb, and if there are 10 steps, the added value between one step and the other one is not obvious, and the journey seems to be very long reach the level 10. So we say 5 level, level 1 initial. In fact, the organization is starting to put in place its quality management system. So this is done more in a reactive way. It is not complete. The results are not repeatable. We are more working in firefighting mode. Okay, with and also at this level, the result generate a lot of effort for quality control, for quality check, because there is a lot of non-quality. So level 2, manage, we start to speak about quality assurance. We started, so that means that we write some procedures in order to manage the activity and to harmonize the way of working. But at this level, this is done mainly at project or product level or per site. It depends on the organization, the size of the organization. Okay, so at this level, the organization may start to comply with the standard. Level 3, deployed. Here we speak about really harmonized processes across the organization. So that means that whatever is the project in the organization, we will always use the same process to manage the project. Whatever is the product, we will always design and produce with the same kind of process. So really, it's the process approach, and we will speak here about quality management system. And what is level 4? The next level, predictable. So that means that we start to anticipate, and to anticipate, we have to look at the KPIs, the results of the processes, and the trends. Do we go down? Do we go up? In order to ensure that we take the right decision before to have an issue, and that we ensure that we deliver on time and on quality. So, so this is the level 4, and the level 5 is optimizing. So when the system is delivering on time and on quality, well managed, monitor, and so on, the next step is to try to optimize. So that means with the same resources, we can try to do better, faster, and so on. Or if we have achieved the best level of quality and performance, is to do it with less resources, with less energy consumption. And the other point at level 5 is that the organization is focused on being best in class. But to be best in class, that means that we have to look at the other organizations who are in this class and to make some benchmark, to participate to forum, to industrial, to international exhibitions, and so on, and to seek for innovation, for really being leading his domain. So these are the various steps, and for each of those steps, you can go on the next page. There are typical keywords where, for example, in level 1, it's reactive, it's not fully, it's unclear, not repeatable. When we can see in level 3, we have harmonized practice, it's systematic, it's cross-functional. And when we go to level 5, we speak about efficiency, benchmark, innovation, organizational culture. Okay, so these are those typical words, and there are also generic criteria which explain a little bit more in detail. And these are the criteria and the keyword that we will use to determine for each expected outcome what is expected at each level. It's the next slide. Okay, so I go directly on this example. Maybe it's a little bit small. So I take the same example as previously. The expected outcome is persons are competent on the basis of appropriate education, training, or experience. So what does it mean when we are at level initial? Okay, where the competence of individual is evaluated for some key roles and positions. Okay, level 2, the competence is evaluated for all roles and positions, but it is done in the project teams and products. It's different in each of them. Level 3, there is a common process to evaluate the competence, and this process is deployed across the organization, and so on. And if we go up to level 5, there is a career plan that is deployed within the organization with proactive determination of the new competencies that are required and to adapt to the evolving context of the organization. Okay, so you see, just for one simple example, what can be the criteria, the assessment criteria. And so this is an extract of the current version of AIMM that is available on the IAQG site. Early next year, there will be the version 1.1, which will contain much more examples. So more or less in each of those cells, there are examples. So that means what we can expect to find at this level or at the other one. We have added links to the IAQG standards. There is a full set of IAQG standards and guidance material in the SCMH, the Supply Chain Management Handbook, that is available also for free on the IAQG site. We have integrated the ISO 9002, which is a guidance explaining how to implement each requirement. So it is integrated in the new version of AIMM that will be available early next year. So you can see that first, it is easy to assess a requirement. There is, for the assessment, there is the assessor and the manager of the organization. For example, in that case, it could be someone responsible for the training and competence of the people. And with the assessee, we can just estimate. We can not necessarily on the base on real factual evidence like for an audit, but we can estimate, okay, we are at level 2 or level 3. It is self-explanatory. And if we say, okay, we are at level 3, we can see what we can do to go up to level 4. So that means that it gives you also the actions, ideas to set actions to move forward from one level to the other one. You can go on the next one. Okay, so we have dispatched the 9100 requirements into 26 modules in order to have modules that are of similar size. So that means in each module there are 10, 20 lines maximum. So that means 10 or 20 expected outcomes that can be assessed. I'm pretty sure that you know very well the 9100 standard, and you know that there are some sections, some clauses that are very small, communication, for example, but there are some other that are very big, section 8.5 for the production. So section 5 has been split in 3 blocks as it is written here. Awareness and communication have been grouped together, and resources, we have extracted within the resources the monitoring and measuring resources, which are generally not managed by the same person who are taking care about the human resources. So the next slide. When you want to perform an assessment, the first thing is to select which module you want to assess. You are not obliged to assess the 26 modules. You can select only one if you want to start. In this example, this is the way the results are shown, are displayed. There are 10 yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, there are 10 modules which have been selected to be assessed. And so you see the dark blue line. These are the targets that are expected. And we say there is the target, there are 2 modules that are at level 5, and all the others are at level 4. And as soon as you assess one module, automatically the tool displays the result. And here we can see that we have assessed 4 modules that have reached the level 3. So that means that we are in the middle of the assessment. We still have 7 modules to assess. But the first result that we can see here is that, okay, we are below the target. And the next step after the assessment will be to put in place the action plan to go from level 3 to level 4, at least for those 4 axes. Okay, there is no maturity level for the company, for the organization. There is no overall level of maturity which is not meaningful. Because we can be very strong on one aspect and not on the other one, but it is this aspect that is critical for the organization. So it is really per module. Okay, next one. So what AIMM can be used for? So as you understood, to self-assess the QMS, comment dire, as this is an international tool, then you can assess your own QMS against international practices. And this tool has not been developed by 3 people. It has been developed and validated by a full team of about 30 people plus almost the same number of organizations worldwide who tested each module, provided feedback, and based on those feedback, we made improvements and we found agreement. So really, this is a set of international practices. As you could see, you can use AIMM to define the improvement plan or to search for new ideas for improvement and to set measurable objectives. It can be used also to check the level of preparation before to go for a certification. Are we ready for the certification? There is not a one-to-one correlation between the level of maturity and the certificate, but there is a certain level of correlation. If all the modules, the 26 modules, are at level 1 or 2, most probably the organization is not ready for the certification. If all the modules are between 2, 3, most of them 3, eventually 4, the organization most probably is ready for the certification. If all the modules are at level 4 or 5, yes, for sure, the organization has put in place all the fundamental, the foundation of the standard, and should be certified with no doubt. Okay, it is also used to support the establishment of the internal audit program. For example, to identify, to determine to plan the audit on the area where the maturity level is the lower, in order to identify opportunity for improvement. For example, it can be used also to establish the audit questionnaire, because you see, for each for each expected outcome, you can see what is expected at each level. So you can use all the criteria for level 3, for example, and ask those questions. It is also useful for internal audit program, and we have some feedback also that it has been used also for certification audit to clarify some requirements. So that means between the auditor and auditees, if there is a misunderstanding, then you can go directly in AIMM to the given requirement and to see what is expected, and not imposing something that is level 5 when the organization is starting to put in place its quality management system, as an example. And okay, last but not least, so AIMM is not supposed to be a requirement for supplier selection, because, as you understood, it is a self-assessment tool. So between two organizations, depending the way they self-assess themselves, if they assess on the full perimeter or a part, it's difficult to compare. But if I am the customer and I have several suppliers, and one supplier is showing me that he is using AIMM every 6 months or whatever on a regular basis, and what has been improved, and I can witness the improvement on those areas, I will have more trust in the quality management system of this supplier compared to another one who is, let's say, only certified. Okay, so this is the way it is intended to be used with the supply chain. Now you can go, yes, to the next slide. So where can you find AIMM? Of course, on the IAQG site, and there is, if you look at on the left part, in the IAQG tool, there is OASIS, SCMH, and there is AIMM. But you can also search, if you go in the standard itself, if you go in on the right part, in the published standard, in the 9100 standard, then you have the link to AIMM. And I don't know if it is done now, but it will be soon done. When you will go in SCMH, then from SCMH, you will be able to have a link to AIMM, because SCMH is providing some guidance material that can help when you are in a certain level of maturity on a certain expected outcome. Then you can use some certain SCMH guidance to put in place to know what to do and how to do it. Okay, I think that this is the last slide. Yeah, because the next one, it is you can go on the next one. Yes, that was the comparison between assessment and certification. So I already explained that. So AIMM does not replace, is not a competitor of certification audit. So they are really complementary, and AIMM for sure help the organization to reach the certification, and then once certified, to go to level 4 and level 5 in order to improve their performance and the satisfaction of their customer. Okay, so that's it for me.
Okay, great.
I hope that it was sufficiently clear. It was quite fast, but you can
It was
ask.
very clear. Yeah. Thank you so much, Thierry.
You're welcome.
So we can now have a look at the questions that came in. I don't see any on the normal chat, but I got a few on the private side.
Okay.
So we can have a look at those. First question. What would be the benefits of applying AIMM for an organization already certified to EN9100?
Okay, so I spoke a little bit about that, but in fact, to be certified, it is an achievement for sure, because it's not something that is easy to get, but it is not an end. And as I told you, the standard require continual improvement. So the benefit of AIMM for those companies that are already certified is to have a tool which permit to measure the maturity of the organization, to identify the areas of improvement, to set improvement objective, and to progress from, let's say, just the pure compliance to the requirement, to effectiveness, so I mean on time and quality, and then to optimization to lead the market. So it's really to bring the organization on this improvement journey. And last but not least, as you could see that there are different modules, and we can assess individually those modules in the organization. Each module can be linked to a different department or organization. So it can push the organization to increase their motivation for improvement. When one organization is at a certain level and the other one is at a level N+1, then there will be a kind of competition, which is a good competition, and that can be recognized by the organization, by the top management at the end of the year, if it is a yearly objective, as example.
Great. Thanks, Thierry. I hope that answered the question. I think it did. The next question is, how is AIMM different from the maturity assessment tools already in use by the industry?
Okay. Yes, indeed, there are quite a big variety of maturity tools in the industry, as I told you. So there are some that are public, some are the organization property. The point, first of all, is that they are not standardized, and they cannot lead to comparable results across the industry. In addition, they are costly, because if it is a public standard like CMMI, you must buy the license, you must buy the assessors. If it is an internal tool, you spend time, hours, months, people dedicated to maintain this model. Here, there is a tool that is common to the whole aerospace and defense industry, which offer the common criteria to assess the maturity across the industry. So no need to develop something specific, and also the result on online application of AIMM. There is, of course, the application. You can provide feedback, and those feedback, without providing confidential data, can be used by us, I would say the IEQG team, in order to make a benchmark, and an organization who has assessed itself can see, okay, compared to the rest of the industry, I am above, I am below, I am in the average. So really there is, AIMM can provide a mean to benchmark the organization within the whole aerospace domain.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, thank you, Thierry. There's one more question. If we achieve level 3 in AIMM, then can I be confident for the EN9100 certification?
Okay, so this is what I say. You can go and show the next slide, and the answer is on the next slide. Okay, so if all, it is written in orange, if all the modules are around maturity level 2 or 3, most probably the organization can be certified. But when we wrote the standard, what we could see is that in the standard itself, there are some requirements which are at level 2, saying, okay, you must have documented information to explain how you are doing this activity. Okay, so this is a level 2 requirement, but some are at level 3. You must have a harmonized process to do this and that. Some are requirements are at level 4 when we are speaking about performance indicator and effectiveness, and some are at level 5 when we are in the chapter 10 of the standard concerning continuous improvement. It's true that most of the requirements are equivalent to level 3 of AIMM. But there is not a clear relation from 1 to 1. If I am at maturity 3, I am certified. No, it's not like that. Probably you are certifiable, but you have to look at also all the requirements of the standards, and some requirements are equivalent to level 4 or level 5 of AIMM.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you very much, Thierry.
You're welcome.
So I think as time is going fast, maybe we could go quickly over this. So in terms of AXSENS involvement in AIMM, as I mentioned earlier, we have an audits and assessments department, and we are very much involved in training people and companies in the themes and the best practices linked to AIMM. And we have a very hands-on approach, which is why we call it training in action. 70% of our training is use cases. So this is what we've put in place to support the best practices achievement. And then we've got the support for certification, obviously, where we support you to get your EN9100 or ISO 9001 or EN9145, the APQP standard certification. And then we've got the pillar supplier audits and self-assessment. So there are two axes to this pillar. We support manufacturers in evaluating the suppliers. And we also coach clients to do the auto evaluations. So this is the two axes that we provide. And we do customize our training to your specific needs. As you can see here, there may be some objectives linked to ISO 9001 or EN9100 or even ISO 19011, which is establishing audits inside of your own company. And then supplier audits or industrial maturity assessments. We do adapt to your situation according to your needs. Okay. So as a summary, as Thierry explained, we accompany you in your understanding of AIMM. And your use of AIMM. We help you implement or improve your processes. We help you prepare for your ISO 9001 or EN9100 certification. We harmonize and group QMS, multi-site companies. So if you've got several sites that have completely different ways of working, we can help with that. We help you manage external requirements. We help you manage reviews and internal audits, evaluations, and we provide coaching as well. So that is a summary of our services. I won't go into all of this. So if you'd like to contact us, we are available via email or through our website, or you can just call us. We have a fixed line. And yeah, would you like to say some closing words, Thierry?
Oh, I would be pleased to meet each of you in order to speak a little bit more and to see how we could help you. I hope that the explanation was sufficiently clear to motivate you to use AIMM, which is frankly a tool that does not exist in the other industry. So we have the chance in the aerospace and defense industry to have the IEQG who dedicate resource, time to develop such a tool and to provide it for free again. It's incredible to the whole industry. So please contact Mari or AXSENS if you want to know more. Thank you, Prakalp, for your nice word. Okay, so that's it for me. I was very pleased to be with you today.
Yes, as was I. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating. And yeah, don't hesitate to contact us if you have questions or, yeah, if you just want to talk about AIMM.
Well, you have recorded this webinar. Where will it be available?
Yes, it will be on the internet site, the AXSENS-bte internet site. So that's axsens.com.